Sometimes you're flush and sometimes you're bust. And when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're down, you never think you're going to be up again. But life goes on. Remember that. Money isn't real, George. It doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.
What's up, man? Another episode here. What? Staying in trouble. Eric, Adam,
Short, Humes,
here in the studio, man. Dude, this is it's just us.
Is this the first episode? What episode is this?
Dude, this is number 50.
Can you hear the ice in the background? I hear are kids in the background.
Dude, this is, can't believe it, man. Number 50 episode. This is fun, man.
I feel like we're definitely going in the right direction. I love hearing everyone's stories.
What's some of your favorites? Let's think back, dude. We've had some awesome guests, and we want to encourage anybody out there, check out some of our older episodes out, man. I mean, we've had some fantastic guests, and if we don't mention that particular one, doesn't mean that you weren't awesome. There was a lot of them.
I don't, there's so many good episodes, and when people are asking me, it just depends on who I'm talking to. I actually was talking to quite a few people about it today, and when people were asking about, I had someone talking about a knee surgery or a shoulder injury right now. I was talking to someone, his wife got surgery, happened 6 months ago, and I'm like, pretty sure that got botched because she can't even extend her hand and stuff. And I was like, well, did they even talk to you about stem cell therapies, about, afterwards? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, you obviously did not go to Dr. Hansen. And
obviously you did not listen to our episode because we put that information out there.
And so there's things like that. There's, things when we're talking about, I actually get a lot of calls about Josh Silito, the certified therapist. And I usually tell people it's good for me because I personally can't grip what he does. I personally can't, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and being able to relate, that's not one of my strengths. And so having Josh come in, I've had so many people said, oh man, Josh really has brought some profound wisdom, and I really love hearing him. And so I'm excited to keep Josh coming in.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it brings a lot of value. I had someone, my son yesterday was talking about, when my friend Marcus came in, was talking about, the experience of putting his kids through club ball and his daughter getting hurt. And I think it's all crazy right now because now we don't even know the future of sports as of today.
Yeah.
A directive came out and basically said you can practice sports, but you can't play them. And did you see that?
I did see that.
And so, do
you honestly think people are going to do that?
No.
They keep coming out with these scenarios or these rules and stuff, and other people are just like, whatever, dude. I'm just going to go out and do it.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do?
I was talking to your boy Ryan Gibson earlier, and a little shout out to Dr. Gibson, and he's totally invested in baseball, and so I started asking him, hey, what do you think about Chad Hermanson? And we just had Chad on, and I get a lot of feedback from Chad's episode, and
yeah, so do I. That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was fun.
And we'll always talk about having the Nelsons in, and having the scenario. For a lot of kids, they're building up to being drafted professionally or going to some sort of like professional league, and we have the Henderson Silver Knights coming up.
Yep.
And so, and then I tell them about the experience of the Nelsons coming in and sharing their experience. And I think a lot of families are scared right now because they don't know the future of that experience. Like, how is everything going to be on pause? How long is it going to be on pause? What else? We had some great episodes when the Rothausers came in and told the experience about brain cancer. Yep. I always bring up Donovan Stewart and his experience, and we also talk about Jace Bakuza.
Yeah, dude.
Jimmy.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites. I being in the same room and him telling his stories, you just felt his energy.
Yeah.
You just wanted him to keep going and keep going. And then I've even gone back and listened to that episode, and that's one of my favorite. Donovan was another one of my favorites also.
That just blew us all away.
But at the same time, I felt like we cheated that episode out because we were still very rookie when it comes to the audio and when it comes to getting things set up and also talking and interviewing. I believe, Eric, that both you and I have gotten a little bit better at it. We still got work to do, at least I know I do. But I would love to have Donovan back in and kind of maybe get a part 2 on that one and just kind of do a better job and give Donovan the credit that I felt like he deserved. And the thing that he was talking about was scholarships and what he does for the youth is fantastic. So I kind of wish that we could.
Well, he's going back into the classroom. He's actually going to be.
It turned off, man.
Oh, yeah, turn off.
Hold on.
I said,
start that again.
Yeah, Donovan's actually going back in the classroom. He's coming back to the admin at Foothill High School. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So he'll be back at Old Foothill, and and I think there's a lot of other great episodes we've had.
The co-parenting was really good with Jen and her husband. I forgot his name already.
Dane.
Yep, Dane. And I mean the energy that they kind of had, which was
unique,
yeah. But at the same time, you couldn't deny the fact that they both love their kids very much, and they want what's best for their kids, and you couldn't put that aside, even though that there could have been maybe a little tension, maybe. But at the same time, I was impressed how they can put that aside and really, move forward with their kids and stuff like that. So that was a good one.
So I'm looking forward to the next 50. To be honest with you, I feel like you said, we're getting better,
we're growing,
and I think in the totality of life are we adding value? And I hope for our listeners that you guys find value in the content that we're bringing, because we do enjoy. I mean, the thing is Adam, I enjoy the time being here because I feel like every episode I grow. And I feel like the opportunities to hear people's story makes me better.
Yeah.
And even talking about, just that's what I love about it. Just how everyone's got a story, and I've always felt that in life. And so being able to showcase those stories are pretty phenomenal.
Oh yeah, and being a part of it, we've had a ton of fun when we had Mama's Wranglers in here telling about the story of being on the road, and then they even sung a little bit for us. That was a lot of fun. And then we had Hemlock. We had Chad and his wife in and talking about their times on being the rock star on the road type stuff. Some fun stories, some embarrassing stories. He knows a little too much about me.
So, I'm excited for some of the guests we have coming up.
Yeah.
Eric Nixick, who runs the UFC gym. Most notable right now he's in the corner for Francis Ngannou. We have a real estate developer coming in. So you guys want to hear
a physical trainer,
trainer,
a taxidermist. Man,
that's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be great, dude.
Because I think everyone wonders, and well, actually, the taxidermist, you're actually shortchanging him because to talk about his foundation, to talk about what he does with the youth. And get that word out there, and getting more of the messages out there are going to be pretty fabulous. We've got some other coaches coming up. What else do we have coming up? We've got quite a good lineup coming up, and I think we're trying to add value because a lot of people are finding in life right now that it is time to listen. I think people are taking more time in life just to listen. There's so much chaos. I had a little scare, I guess. I put a post out last week and
yeah, I saw that.
It got a little heated.
Yeah,
that was so. I don't know.
I stayed far away from that.
So I just want to talk about it a little bit, just get it on record. So that if anyone I know a lot of times you've heard stories of teenage girls and people being bullies or this experience on social media. And this is the first time for me that I've ever felt had a an uncomfortable situation
Yeah.
happen with social media. And I've been on social media for a long time, and I put a lot of stuff out there. And so there were so many, and it's weird because I never meant that post to be a discussion. I never meant that post to be, I shared it as a post of support, and it turned into open discussion. I wasn't the one that was
Man,
like,
I kind of want to go back and read all of it.
yeah,
I didn't get it all.
There was some unfriendly things said, and there was both sides giving different points, and there's a lot of people who chimed in, and that's what, in the totality of things, I think, like, the stress I bore from that post was good in the fact that I felt stress, I felt like the intrepidation, I felt like maybe I was taking people's comments too personal.
Yeah.
And then people were having discussions a lot. It wasn't, the post actually was not like about me, and it was not, and people were like kind of using me or the post to like lobby one way or the other.
Yeah.
And that was uncomfortable. And
I would have no idea. I would not put you as an uncomfortable person.
they're not a lot of, I don't know about uncomfortable, but it was stressful.
Stressful.
It was super stressful. And I deal with a lot of stress all the time. But I think, like, for the stress that I deal with, I'm very accustomed to it, or I've grown a thickness to it. But that post put me in a position that I was not comfortable with. And I think that's what a lot of people are saying in general in life right now. And I think even beyond the racism of being uncomfortable, I think everyone else is feeling slightly uncomfortable with the Jumanji that we're living in right now.
It's crazy.
Like, did you see there's like flooding in New Orleans didn't make the news, or at least I didn't hear. I only saw it.
I saw a little bit of it.
I saw it because someone I know who lives there, her and her husband were in a kayak and they were kayaking around. And I'm like,
it's crazy, man.
In what year did life become normal? Like a tropical storm that's going to end up going all the way up to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which is really rare. It's going to flood everything from Louisiana all the way up to Wisconsin, become normal. Oh, this is right. 2020, Jumanji.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of my favorite memes that got put out by, I think, Joe Rogan, it's a picture of a bunch of aliens and says, "All right, guys, we're up next."
Yeah.
Like, what else can honestly happen this year?
There is a lot of SETI talk, by the way. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
A lot of SETI talk.
Dude, whatever comes in the future of this year, it shouldn't surprise anyone. I mean,
I don't think
honestly,
so.
It's 2020 will definitely be a year that will go down in everyone's memory as one of the craziest ones for sure. But back to that post, man. I mean, I've always been nervous of getting out there. Thoughts come to my head, and sometimes I think about, oh man, I'm going to share this or I'm going to post this, and then I back off, man. I get too nervous, or I feel like I want to comment on a post, or I want to put my 2 cents in. I feel strongly on this subject or whatever it is, and I chicken out, you know. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to get into it. I just fill my wife's ear full of my opinions, and she has to bear it, and then I just let it go.
So I was talking to a friend earlier today who's in law enforcement, and he's like, "Eric, I saw your post," and he's like, I definitely like. He's like, "Eric, I know you, so I know actually what you meant from that," and that's another thing. He's like, you know, when you have a text message or a post in that regard, you don't get the context, you don't get the inflection, you don't get the real message. You're only getting 5% of that message, statistically speaking, because 95% of our communication is nonverbal. And so along those lines, that made me feel good that he understood. And then the other part about that, though, he said, he's like, I wanted to post something, but he's like, I don't want to alienate my guys that I work with, or I don't want to, I don't want my feelings misconstrued. And I was like, and so I think it's actually a lesson for those going forward. Like, hey, what happens if you're, so they call that is, in this regard, it wasn't engagement, because it wasn't like people were engaging with me. People were assuming I was one way or the other, and that's not the case at all. And people who know me, I'm a pretty transparent person, and I'm pretty transparent in things that I do. I mean, I put it out there quite a bit for someone who's just a regular Joe, sub-mayor of Henderson, and but on the flip side is it's a cautionary tale of, hey, if you do get a post hijacked, is what it's called, then this is, some of the stress and some of the things you need to be aware of. But a lot of on the flip side is a lot of good discussion, and that's why I left it up for so long. Was
you took it down?
I did take it down. There's some things that were said that were like people were getting a little too personal with each other.
Yeah,
and I felt that was, as a moderator, I felt that like there's some lines that had been crossed.
Yeah,
and like when people were like using my post to be inflammatory on a personal level to other people, that was too much.
Yeah, I call those keyboard tough guys.
Yeah,
they like to talk tough on there, but
you had some warriors going at it, and I felt like I talked to one person and he was giving me his point of view, and I think he was just in this mode of, hey, I need to argue with you. And I'm like, dude, you're not, I'm not arguing with you. You can have your points. I'm fine with that. Like it's not about, and I think that's where people get caught up in, hey, I need to educate you. I'm like, no, you don't need to educate me, brother.
See, I find that to be a real big problem, or I have a problem with it, is there is nothing wrong in this country to disagree with someone.
Yeah.
But you could still be friends. You could still be cool with that person. You can have different opinions. All of a sudden, I feel,
in your case, you could even be lovers.
Exactly. I'm sleeping with the enemy, right?
Right.
No, just joking.
Well, yeah. For some people, they would say you are.
Yeah, but there's more to it than just having. I mean, you can have a healthy opinion of something. You can even state it. You can share it. But there's nothing wrong with listening to it. I listen to all kinds of opinions. We listen to opinions in here.
Yeah.
Not all of them I totally agree with, but I respect that person for having that opinion and sharing it with us. And it educates me a little bit more. Maybe it opens my eyes up a little bit more. But America, there's nothing wrong with having difference of opinions and still getting along. It seems like in the last 10 years, all of a sudden we're on two sides of the team.
Not even 10 years. It seems like it's been even
maybe less.
Yeah, it's been like the last.
But then all of us.
I guess you're right. Like last 10 years. Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like if you're on this side of the political spectrum or this side of the political spectrum, you cannot get along with the other one. You hate these people, and these people hate you. And I believe that that's dividing the country big time.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with being able to.
You got to pick a side. It's always about picking a side, and instead figuring out, hey, we're on the same side. What's the greater good, or what's going to push us forward? And I think that's where we've lost focus. What's going to help progress all of us together as a family, as a nation, or even as a people, versus, hey, this is going to be better for us. And that's what the social experiment is supposed to be. That's what the Constitution was set up as. Hey, here's the game rules. And let's see if this works. This is how, we can move society forward.
Exactly.
And I agree with you.
Well, with this whole protest thing that's happening, everyone keeps talking about we need to have that uncomfortable kind of racial conversation. And I think that's healthy. But the only way we're going to be able to do that is also out of love. You have to respect the other person, even if you don't agree with them.
Yeah.
Where this person is coming from and where that person is coming from. And I don't know. that's the part when it comes to politics, when it comes to talking about these kind of social issues, I get really frustrated with, because everyone, we're this way and we're not budging.
Yeah.
You can share, and you don't have to change opinions, you know? And I don't know, when I was growing up, one of the things my dad always told me was, you never ask someone how much you make, how they pray, or how they vote. Those conversations should never come in, or those topics should never come into your conversation.
Which today is election day, by the way, as well.
Yes, it is. But you never talk about those things.
Yeah.
Those are personal items that person is doing. And that's how society kind of got along. But it seems like today, that's completely out the window. And everyone, is talking. And there's nothing wrong with talking as long as you respect that other person's opinion and they respect yours. You can have a very constructive conversations, and you can still be best friends.
Yeah.
Or lovers in my case.
Well, and so like my parents never even voted. Like they never registered to vote. And so, and as a kid, I never really understood that. And so now I understand, if you don't vote, guess what? You don't have to worry about that stuff. But then they would also complain when so-and-so was doing
this or that.
And they're like, well, you didn't even vote. So how can you even complain?
Well, that's something I always say is I vote to give me a right to whine and complain about a politician or a law or something like that.
So also something I want to talk about is so just honestly, between you and I, like,
we have microphones in our face, so it's not just between you and I.
So we're out in Nevada.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone that's been hit with Rona?
Personally?
Yeah.
I do. But here's my problem with it is the individual that passed away that my wife knew very well, he had another problem. And I don't want to share her name, but like, he had another issue, and one of their kids kind of commented on it in a conversation with my wife that he had
1 foot in already.
Yeah, it was like a brain aneurysm or something like that he was already suffering from before this whole coronavirus hit everyone.
Right,
and then he got it, and then it kind of sealed the whole deal.
Right.
So, but then they're chalking him up as a COVID-19 casualty. And maybe, but he was already kind of knocking on heaven's doors, if you know what I mean. So like,
well, so that's.
But no, back to your question. Not really. That's the only one that I know.
So just recently, we've had it knock on, and it was kind of scary. Like, hey, are we carriers? Is this, something we're going to get affected? We don't even know. We don't have any symptoms.
Yeah.
We went and got tested as a family.
You came back negative, right?
We came back negative.
Because I was ready to put a face mask on, right?
I know. Well, and so, but along those lines, it's looking back now, like, it's like, oh, we actually, like, now we feel the full flavor of it. And like, so my nephew's having to really do the real quarantine.
Yeah.
And my hearts go out to, like, for kids. I mean, that's grueling.
Yeah, for sure.
To be sequestered to small areas so that he doesn't get, he doesn't pass it along to anyone else. And those are like little stories that we don't hear about. And it's going back to what you said, like, I think in the totality of things, COVID has really been a quickening for many things. Not just like what you talked about for the guy that had the brain aneurysm, that was knocking on the door, but even for businesses, if they were knocking on the door, COVID just, burnt them up anyways.
Yeah.
And so I think, it'll be interesting. But on the flip side, I was watching a video today of, there's a movement of like 24,000 volunteers who volunteered to get the COVID virus so that the labs could do tests on them, could do vaccine tests on them. And
I hope they're making a lot of money.
The volunteers?
Yes.
No, they're just picking it up as
good for them.
Yeah, they picked it up as.
I don't know if I can do that.
Maybe you missed the volunteer part. Like, hey, as a volunteer of duty, like, hey, we're gonna take this on.
Well, don't you use the same word when you go into the army?
That's how
Or
they
you
equate it.
enlist. I guess you enlist.
and that's
you still get paid.
Yeah, they're still pulling from the same. Yeah, they're pulling from that same group of young adults, and they said, well, instead of fighting a war, we're going to fight the war on the pandemic.
That's good.
Yeah, and so it was actually really encouraging that they could say, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice, and for the greater good of humanity.
Is there any here in Nevada?
I don't know. Like, you have to circle through the list, I guess. Probably not. Nevada's not a good sample set, I don't think so.
Oh.
Have you guys been to the casinos yet?
No, we haven't. We weren't really big casino goers to start with. I mean,
Is that what you're telling everyone?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not saying that. Okay. What I am saying is this coronavirus affected a lot more people than actual people that got sick.
Yeah.
The amount of people that lost jobs and businesses and stuff. Then this virus wave, hit so many different other areas.
Well, so on the flip side,
just a bad cough,
Well, and that was the thing, is the two people I know that have it, one of them's in the hospital today, is, someone asked them, they're like, hey, is it like the flu? And they said, no, it is not like the flu. For them, it was a lot worse. Jeez. And so I think that was the line.
Yeah.
And that was something, to be honest with you, for me, it was hard to understand because I did have that perspective. If anyone's seen my Costco video, is and it's really hard for me because I'm a people person, and to not have gatherings of people is hard on me personally. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, one of my favorite lines, that we're talking about past episodes, one of my favorite lines is when Josh Silito talks about we're using the wrong English word when it comes to social distancing to physical distancing. Anytime that we need to be more social is today. So we should be using the phrase physical distancing because that's what we need to do. We need to stay away from each other physically, but not socially. Socially, we need to be more together than basically ever before. So that was one of our past episodes with Josh Silito, and he talks a lot about that, and that's one of my favorite lines that he said in there, and it really got me thinking about it all. But yeah, dude, it's been crazy. It's affected businesses, affected jobs. It's affected our even our hobbies and our way of life. I don't think America has ever seen anything like this. And but you know what? At the end of the day, I think we'll get through it. I think we'll be okay. I know there's some people that still have not gone back to work, and they may be scared, and some tough things could come their way. But I think there's a silver lining. I try to stay positive in these kind of things. I probably should go to the casino and help support the local economy and stuff like that. I've just never been really a gambler, but there's other things to do in these casinos besides gamble.
I hear actually the service and the food at the restaurants they were good before, but they're great. Actually, I was listening to
Are the
episode.
local casinos open, like Sunset Station, or like?
I'm not sure, but I know Juan's Flaming Fajitas is open.
Yes.
And I hear that actually this appointment by appointment service is actually people are enjoying it more than waiting outside for an hour. So
it is nice. It is nice. But anyways, yeah, dude, 50 episodes. I'm looking forward to the next 50. This is exciting.
This is fun.
Hey, dude, it's been a blast, man. We've learned a lot. I love meeting all the people that come in our door. And to me, we have exceeded our expectation when we started this thing. When Eric and I started, we literally recorded the first episode in his kitchen, right there on the microphone on the laptop, and we had a lot of fun with it.
We did.
And we just continue to grow and become better and better. But I love what it's come into of getting more people in here. I think that's the essence of this podcast, is having our guests, their points of view, hearing their stories, hearing them, and us providing a platform for them to share it to the listeners. And I absolutely love that. I love being a part of it.
Let's do it.
Dude, we're going to keep doing it. So, yeah, we hope everyone continues to enjoy this show. And please, like always, man, leave a comment, hit that subscribe button, and please tell someone about the show. I know I sound like a broken record, but tell someone about the show, shoot a text message out, share a Facebook link.
Also, too, if you guys want to get Adam and I, if you guys have an event or you have a virtual event coming up, Adam and I are available. We'd love to come out, take pictures, take a video with you. We're going to see a lot more videos on our YouTube and Twitch channels and obviously on the gram. So we were always rocking the gram. And that may be another future episode coming up. We're going to have some social media people keep coming in, especially with just like post-COVID. We're going to have a lot of post-COVID follow-up with marketing and business and finance and I might even talk about a little bit of real estate. So look forward to hearing you guys. Love seeing you around town.
Absolutely.
So,
and please shoot us an email. Tell us how we're doing. And if you got a good idea of a show, let us know, man. We're always open. We're ready to do this, man.
Yeah. We'll talk to you guys. Yeah, talk to you guys in a couple of days, I guess.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for listening.